Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, and Job. Psalms and Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, and Hosea, Joel and Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. These are the books of the Bible, the wonderful books of the Bible. These are the books of the Bible, the wonderful books of the Bible.
Hello Desert Breeze kids and families, I hope this online lesson finds you well. Well, I did get cartoonified, so things are going to be a little bit change up here for our online lessons. So we're still going to have them weekly, premiering at 8 o'clock every Sunday, but they are going to be a little bit shorter, just to kind of give you a heads up, but they will review our big idea as well as our Bible story for that weekend. So if you wind up missing a week, and you can always get it caught up for you DB kids, as well as if you're still watching Farm Home, you still got that available to you as well. But thank you guys so much for joining. This is DB Kids. All right, Desert Breeze kids, our big idea for today is God gives me courage to lead. God gives me courage to lead. That's our big idea. Now that's easier said than done, because oftentimes there's fears, and we have a lot of different fears that sometimes are around us, whether that's the dark, getting lost, heights, snakes. It could be anything. Now I wonder, how do you react whenever you're scared or afraid? What do you do? How do you help yourself? Now here's one thing that you should know though, is that everyone has fears, even leaders. But they often overcome those fears, leaders do, with God's help, and so can you. And it can wind up being something epic of how God works. Now today we're going to hear about one such leader. His name is Gideon. So let's watch our video today on the story of Gideon and how God used him and how he was able to have courage to lead.
It's time for our Bible story. Today, our story is about a man named Gideon. Gideon was about to do a very scary thing. He was about to lead an army into battle against an enemy that was much, much bigger. But even though Gideon's army was small, God told him it was too big. God told Gideon that anyone who was scared could go home. Gideon went to his men and told them that if they were scared, they could leave. 22,000 of them did. That is a lot. Gideon only had 10,000 soldiers left, which might sound like a lot to us, but it wasn't compared to who they were up against. Hundreds or thousands of people. And yet, God told Gideon his army was still too big and to take them down to get a drink. God told Gideon to watch how they drank the water. The people who quickly got the water by cupping their hands, like how a dog laps up water with his tongue, could stay. The ones who kneeled all the way down without paying attention to anything around them could go. Do you know how many people were left? 300. Can you believe it? God gave Gideon only 300 soldiers, the one who drank like dogs, to fight this battle. The night before the battle, God told Gideon to go down to the enemy's camp and listen. He overheard one of the enemy soldiers telling another that he had a dream about a giant loaf of bread crashing through their camp, destroying everything. The other soldiers said that this must be a sign that they would lose to Gideon's army. Gideon regained his courage. He went back to his men and spread them out around the enemy's camp with horns, clay jars, and torches. All at once, Gideon gave the signal and they blew their horns, smashing their jars, and lit their torches. The enemy thought that they were actually surrounded by hundreds of thousands of men, when in fact it was just 300. In a panic, they began to fight each other. So without lifting a finger, Gideon and his men won the battle over a much bigger enemy. All because Gideon was brave enough to trust God's instructions. When you face a problem that seems too big and everyone is looking right at you, remember Gideon, and remember, God gives me courage to lead.
The story of Gideon is found in Judges chapter 7, verses 1 through 22. Hey, why don't you read it this week? Now, God gives us courage to lead, but sometimes leading when doing the right thing is maybe not always the most popular thing. Now, here's what I want you to do this week, to think about, well, how can I be a courageous leader this week? Maybe at home, maybe at camp, maybe with some of my friends, wherever it may be. Just know that God is with you, and He's there to help you, to help be a courageous leader. Hey, let's check to see how our friend Carl is doing this week with the big idea.
Now once again, welcome to TV.
What is up, Andy?
How's it going?
What it do?
Hey there.
What up?
All right, no more. Mother! We have fun.
We sure do.
You seem like you're in a really good mood, Carl.
Well, it's because I am.
Well, why is that?
Well, after last week's big idea of everyone can be a leader, well, it got me excited.
That's great, Carl.
It really is. I mean, I'm a leader. I can accomplish so much.
That's so good for you, man.
What? What was that?
Well, I mean, I think it's great that you're confident, but,
But what?
well, leading takes a lot of responsibility. I'm always scared to lead.
I'm scared to lead? Why?
I mean, what if I fail?
Fail. What are you talking about, fail?
Well, you know how you could succeed at leading, right?
Yeah, if you're good at something, you succeed. What's the problem?
Well, the problem is, just like you can succeed, you can also fail.
Excuse me?
Wait, you mean you didn't know that?
What? Psh, of course I knew that. I mean, like, when you succeed, is like when you fail. You know, it's the conundrum of this sentence is what? What?
Carl, you're not making any sense.
That's because I'm failing, Andy.
But...
No buts. This is it. Every hope, goal, and dream I had is vanished into thin air.
Whoa, Carl, that is not...
No more leading for me. Let's take a moment to thank all the leaders that I wanted to be like.
Hey, Jada.
Hey Andy, how's it going, Carl?
Oh, not bad.
You excited about being a leader?
Carl's not having the best day.
Oh, how come?
I'm just a little bummed is all.
Why's that?
Well, I was so excited about being a leader, but then Andy destroyed my whole universe.
Okay, not really. I was just reminding Carl that sometimes when you're leading, you may not always succeed. You may fail or mess up.
And now he just reminded me twice. Why are you trying to destroy my whole universe, Andy?
I'm glad you're not being dramatic about this.
I'm not dramatic! Okay, I'm a little dramatic.
Now, Carl, you gotta understand, leading can be scary, but it's so much easier when you have God on your side.
Just like Gideon.
Exactly.
Giddy Woody?
Gideon, he was a normal guy in the Old Testament.
Yup, and one day while he was working, an angel came to him and told him that the Lord was with him.
But weren't the Israelites God's people kind of in just like a bad spot right then?
They were. The people of God were not listening to God, but God still loved them.
Oh.
That angel also called Gideon a mighty warrior.
Hold up. I thought you just said he was a normal dude, not some mighty warrior. Those things are completely different.
Well, Gideon was surprised by hearing that too, but he was told by the angel that he would be the one to defeat the Midianites, the people who have been treating the Israelites so poorly.
Wow, that's huge.
It was, but Gideon started out his mighty warrior status by leading the charge to destroy the idols that his own people had put up.
Whoa, that was bold.
Carl, do you even know what an idol is?
Yeah, it's anything that takes the place of God. I mean, God talked about it in the Ten Commandments.
Respect.
Yeah, I know things.
That was impressive, Carl. Then Gideon was told he would have to go to battle, even though his community was weak and he was the smallest in his family.
Talk about being afraid to fail. That's a lot of pressure.
You bet it is. And Gideon was so nervous that he asked for a sign from God.
Like a stop sign?
Not really. What Gideon was going to do is he was going to take a piece of wool from a lamb, go outside and lay it down. And in the morning, if that wool was wet and the ground was dry, he knew that God would keep his promise and be with him and help him defeat the Midianites.
How would a wet piece of wool help?
It wouldn't, but that was Gideon's way of making absolute sure that it was God who was calling him.
Still weird, but proceed.
God gave Gideon the signs he asked for, but when Gideon gathered people to join his army, God told Gideon that there were too many people in his army. So Gideon said anyone who was afraid to fight can go home. And do you know how many people went home?
500.
22.
22.
Ha!
1,000. 22,000 soldiers.
What?
What?
And even though there were only 10,000 soldiers left, God said it was still too much. So Gideon listened to God, and at the end of it, there were only 300 soldiers left.
Are you kidding me? Why would God take away Gideon's armies?
Well, Gideon was told he would defeat the Midianites, and God wanted to make sure that everyone would know that if it wasn't for God, then they would have failed.
Holy moly, that's incredible. So they won?
They sure did, all because Gideon trusted God and God gave him courage to lead.
Well, that's great. So I guess I shouldn't be worried about failing.
Right? Everyone fails, but it takes real courage and bravery to lead.
It takes courage to trust too, and leading with God on your side is so much better than anything else.
I believe that. What an awesome reminder. God gives me courage to lead.
Hey Carl, that's our big idea.
Heck, what? No, you're silly, Jada. Andy. Apparently, today's big idea is God gives me courage to lead.
So let's say it out loud on the count of 3. 1,
2,
3.
God gives me courage to lead. Way to go.
Right.
He gives me the courage and you the courage. And Andy, apparently, who would have thunk? Hey, I got a question, Andy. What are you afraid of?
Nothing?
Really? Not even this?
What is it?
Nothing.
Ah!
Gotcha. See you next week, kids.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Pro TV.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Let's review our verse, which is found in Micah 6:8b. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8b. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This is dbKids. Stay tuned next week, same time, same place. Hope you guys have a good one.